Hey, welcome in everyone. DomTime tonight, talking about one of the favorite things that I like to talk about on radio, all things Governor Christie. I mean, it is just a constant type of thing because the guy is as good as any talk show host out there, any entertainer out there, on his feet as good as any political figure I've ever seen. And we're breaking it down with Jason Springer, who is a Democratic consultant, former communications director for the Democratic Party in New Jersey. We have a hot governor's race. We have sort of a hot, if you will, Senate race that Governor Christie is thrown into chaos here by what he's chosen to do.
I would say intentionally.
Yeah, intentionally. He wants to win. His goal is to not only beat Barbara Buono, which in my view, it's almost a mortal lock that he will, but it is anything under 10 points, I guess, will be seen as a loss nationally by Christie, and anything over. I mean, could you have a race in New Jersey? What's the last time a governor's race, one candidate won by 20 points? Is that possible?
That's the interesting thing. The governor has to manage his expectations.
Right.
They have tried to say that they believe that their numbers will come down. And what they don't want is stories that when the governor goes from his artificial number after Sandy to whatever the number could be at some point, they don't want it to be the governor's falling and in free fall. They want to manage the message to say, we knew all along that this would happen, that you know, he's still the governor and he's still doing his things, and that's their challenge in terms of how to best message and frame that, because the numbers are artificially high. If you look at it, there are Democrats that are in there supporting him, and the question is, how does Barbara Buono bring those Democrats back home? Can she do that? And she has to come up with a message and talk directly to them throughout the campaign in order to appeal to them and bring them back to her side.
Now, you've done national campaigns. Let's move past this. You've been involved with Howard Dean and people like that. How does Governor Christie play out nationally? I see tremendous hurdles that he's going to face in the Republican Party because we've had two, McCain, in my view, and Mitt Romney, and somewhat of a moderate, and we're not ready for a moderate again, and there's going to be real firebrands out there in these primaries, and Christie's not the type of guy that handles criticism and pushback very well.
If you take the assumption that he wins and goes on to run in 2016, I would say that his best hope is to have a crowded conservative field so that he can try and show himself.
Can he carry New Jersey and Pennsylvania in a presidential race if he were the nominee?
I think that would be something that he would try to do, but he has to get through the primary into a general election to even challenge those states.
See, this is the type of thing that he tells Republicans.
That would be his pitch.
Right. Can any Republican win New Jersey presidentially?
Well, and that's
I'd say no.
I would think that that's a difficult hurdle to lift.
I would say absolutely no. I don't see Democrats, I don't care how much they like it, they're going to come home to the Democratic Party in New Jersey.
And I would tend to agree with you, but the question is, do primary voters recognize that? Because he's going to go there and he's going to tell them that this is what he can do and he's done it before.
Savior.
And so that's what he's going to try and tell them. And the question is, do they believe that he's conservative enough to get through the primary? You know, speaking to you, you would say no. And so the question is, how many people on the conservative side are there to split up the vote in those first caucus states and primary states that tend to be on the Republican side, your more conservative motivated voters. If he can get through that, then he has the opportunity to have an appeal in other states. But I think the primary would be his largest problem on a national level.
Let's talk about day to day now between now and the elections. What's looming out there in New Jersey for viewers that might come up, might be an issue in any of that? What's the big thing? I would say this too. I haven't seen the polling. You have. NJEA used to be seen as roughly okay in New Jersey. Christie's magic, or lack of that, he has put them behind the eight ball, in my view.
He has used them as an effective punching bag.
Exactly. He has made them villains.
He has used them to advance and frame his message and say that they are the problem. I would tend to disagree with him, and we could have a discussion about that. I think there are larger issues, and there are pieces of those issues. But the governor has effectively used them as a straw man to say nothing can be done because they exist. And I think he will continue to try and do that, whether it's the NJEA or somebody else. He's very effective at building up a straw man and then knocking it down to say, don't pay attention to the things that I've done here. Pay attention to what I'm doing here. Pay no attention to the fact that our trust fund is still broke and we can't fund our roads. Pay no attention to the fact that we've cut funding for women's health. Pay no attention to the fact that we haven't fixed our structural deficit. Pay no attention to the fact that buried in our pension obligations, we may not make a payment again this year, no matter what they've said. pay attention to the show of what I'm doing, who I'm going after, because I'm the tough governor.
So, prediction, every guest that we have on, prediction, I'll put you in, you predict a Bologna win by a neck and neck.
I don't think it will be the blowout that people think. I think
that's so encouraging. So, what's the definition of a blowout?
Well, I don't think
Under
it's
10?
I don't think it's going to be a 20-point race that people are talking about. I think that at some point the race closes, but I think that the senator has an uphill climb for herself in the race.
And in the Senate race?
I think that Mayor Booker is clearly the favorite going in, but I don't think that you can really count out any of the candidates because they all bring different appeal in a primary, and it's a question of what voters turn out in the middle of the summer.
All right, we'll have to have you back before then, Jason. And prediction on Christie, when he wins the governorship, he'll be under 280 pounds.
Oh, God, I don't know. I'm going to stay away from that one.
That's my prediction. Jason Springer, thanks for joining us tonight. Coming up, my 1-minute shot. I was at Marion today, and I'll tell you what I think of what's going to happen in the U.S. Open. Hey everyone, if you're a golfer at all, or if you've ever watched it, or you think, what the heck is the fascination with this game? I think you have to watch the U.S. Open this week with it being in town. I'm just back from Marion today, and even in a practice round, seeing Tiger Woods maybe 3 feet away from me, it is amazing. 10,000 people, if you can imagine, crowded into a small area following this guy in a practice round, where they hit multiple balls and they throw stuff around and all, just watching him meander around the course. Not at any real event, just a practice round. Think of Allen Iverson in practice. It is magical. It is one of the most well-organized types of things, just to see the inner workings of it. And it is a tremendous economic driver to the Philadelphia area. So let's hope that this is a great U.S. Open. If you've never followed it before, turn it on during the course of the next couple of days. See what it's about and try to follow beyond Tiger Woods, just the spectacle of it. It is an amazing, amazing event. It is one of the biggest events. Think of a Super Bowl plopped down over 4 or 5 days, played every single day in a small place out there on the main line. Marion looks great. Let's hope they all have a great U.S. Open. That's DomTime for tonight. Join me tomorrow night at 7 p.m.